Hello, I'm with Eric Hutchinson, who's the CEO of Spirent Communications, and we're going to be talking about cloud and virtualization and how they go together. So thanks for joining us, Eric. What do you see as the largest challenges in migrating business applications into the cloud?
It's really trust. It's confidence in the deployment of those technologies. If you think about what's happening here, companies are looking to transfer their network life over to another provider. The technologies themselves, they work. However, when you're handing over your network life to an Amazon Web Services or a Google, Microsoft Azure, you're losing some of that control that you had in the traditional way. In the past, you would do a proof of concept, you do competitive tendering, bake-offs between providers of those technologies. Network functional virtualization and deployment of these virtual technologies and cloud services needs to go through the same sort of process. We're able, as a test supplier of solutions and assurance, we're able to supply companies with confidence in being able to verify the performance, the scale, and the security of the provision of those virtual services. That's a really important concept. So we're seeing proof of concepts going ahead. We're seeing carriers undertaking those proof of concept trials. We're right in the middle of all of that process.
Now, NFV was developed in order to allow service providers to build ultimate flexibility into their networks. When do you expect to see full deployment?
Well, we've seen quite a number of proof of concept tests for NFV being undertaken, and we've been participating in those proof of concepts. We've been supporting the carriers with those testing of the run-up of that in a prototype fashion. And what we're seeing is 93% of the carriers that have undertaken those proof of concept tests are going to go ahead with network functions virtualization. What we're seeing is that the investment in the development of a solid foundation so that we have a standardized approach to the deployment of NFV. If you think about that, service providers have got very wide networks. They are across the globe. We need to interoperate. They need to have a standard approach to doing that. We're helping to set those performance standards, do the benchmarking around those deployments. So we're right at the forefront of the deployment of those technologies. You'll start to see that build through this year, and then you'll really see those deployments going through in earnest in the live networks in 2016.
One other form of virtualization that's come tearing into the data center is SDN. How do you expect that to change the data center and the industry?
It already has. You wouldn't be able to see the exponential growth in the use of data and the provision of data services if you didn't have SDN. So SDN is very real, it's live deployment. Most of the very large-scale data centers wouldn't be able to run without SDN. What it does, it enables you to scale the provision of services. You can turn up new services very rapidly. You can orchestrate traffic between different subscribers. It gives you a very flexible approach, gives you much more elasticity in the provision of data services as a data center provider or a cloud service provider. Again, what we do, we enable the deployment of those technologies. We can generate traffic into that virtual network, into that cloud. We can test the performance of it, we can test the scalability of it, we test the security of it, and the availability. We're now moving into very large scale, hyperscale deployments of SDN. Now SDN is different to NFV in that SDN is a series of proprietary deployments. So there isn't a standard approach to SDN. So the interoperability between SDN, again, is becoming critical, and this is where we play a vital role, because we're able to simulate that traffic, we're able to do the handoffs between those different deployments, we are able to push that through into the hypervisor, the different network elements within the data center, and really assure that you get the performance and scale and security of the provision of SDN services.
Sounds like it's a whole new world. NFV, SDN, they're not just industry buzzwords anymore.
No, it's very real. It's been out there. You wouldn't see the exponential growth in data services without SDN. The costs of actually implementing all of the equipment under the traditional approach to technologies would be astronomical. It would be unsustainable, and none of us will be able to want to pay for that type of provision of the cost of data services. So it's very real. Then you'll now start to see the service providers benefiting from NFV deployments. They'll be able to utilize much lower cost deployment of hardware equipment across the network, and they'll get the elasticity and flexibility in those deployments.
Eric, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.